Hey, everybody. Well, it seems I'm still here. So I tell you, God has been so good to me and to our family this whole week. And as I look back, I can just see his hand in so many of the little details. But that is the God of the Bible, right? A sovereign God who creates, who controls, who sustains every single molecule in every single situation. Well, let me give you kind of a rundown, an update on everything that's happened. First, I want you all to know that this is not my first heart surgery. Ezekiel 36 says, "And I will give you a new heart, and a new spirit I will put within you, and I will remove your heart of stone from your flesh, and give you a heart of flesh." And this surgery I just had is nothing compared to the eternal salvific surgery that God did in my heart years and years ago. And I pray that He's done that for you as well. And if you don't know about that, and if that's not happened in your life, I'd love to talk to you more about that. But these current events, things that have happened, started Monday. Before Monday, I never had a single pain, a single bit of pressure, angina, anything like that. In fact, Ryan and I were out riding bikes on Friday. Our family did a concert on Sunday, complete with setting up sound and tearing down sound. And we even went to a camp afterwards where I did quite a bit of walking and had no trouble whatsoever. My cholesterol was always borderline, but pretty good, although evidently it had been creeping up in the last 6 months. And my blood pressure has always been really good, although it as well was creeping up some in the last 6 months. The only thing that was a real indicator was my weight, which, for those of you who know me, my whole life has always been a problem. And even I was even trying to get that under control. In fact, I had lost 10 pounds before the heart attack, but it seems like that was too little, too late. But Monday morning I woke up and everything was fine. I went with Ryan and we were preaching in Baltimore City. But I noticed walking back to the car, we kind of walked uphill and I had to stop 2 or 3 times walking up the hill. And I'm figuring, all right, I'm just getting out of shape. But clearly it was a lot more than that. Monday night, we all went out to a really good Mexican restaurant and I was having some heartburn afterwards, which was not uncommon. Um, Tuesday, I woke up, I was still feeling some of that heartburn or what I thought was heartburn. I guess I can't always blame everything on the Mexican food, right? But Ryan and I went out preaching that day with Matt, my son in law, and we were down in Silver Spring. And I was starting to feel a little winded and feeling a little bit of pressure in there. But once we got to where we were going to preach and we started preaching, I started feeling better and it kind of went away. So I'm figuring, well, okay, well, this is still probably part of that Mexican food. And I stopped and got some Gaviscon, got a banana, ate that, and I felt pretty good. Well, that night we had family Bible study. And everybody, of course, convinced me, you have to call the doctor. So, of course, I did. And Wednesday morning, I saw my doctor, went in, and they took my blood pressure, which was 118 over 82, which was pretty good. They did an EKG, which they said looked great. They also did some blood work. Now, there were some really concerning things on that blood work, but we didn't find that out until after the fact. In fact, I just opened my email and realized, oh, well, that's not too good. Um, so I came back after my doctor's appointment, started doing a little work on the computer, and then I realized I had an allergist appointment at 3:30. So about 3 o'clock or 3:10 or so, I headed off to that appointment. And as I walked from the house to the car, I was feeling that my chest was just kind of feeling tight, a little bit of pain, but it wasn't really that bad. And I thought, okay, I will get, I've got a cardiologist appointment on Friday. I'll just take it easy till then. I'll sit in the car and we'll just kind of rest that up a little bit. Um, but as I was driving, it wasn't really going away. And here is where I saw God just start to part the waters like the Red Sea to get me to the hospital. As I neared the doctor's office, which providentially was about 2 blocks from the emergency room, I say providentially because I don't believe in luck. I don't believe in coincidence. I believe that was all God's plan. I was already there, going to my appointment. Um, I started to feel just a lot of pain. It had gone from pressure to really starting to feel pain. I never really felt confused. Like, I was kind of thinking, well, what am I supposed to do? I mean, I had a clear mind. Um, I never really felt dizzy, like I was going to black out, and I never really felt worried, to be honest. I had a peace through all of it, but I did know I had to get to the emergency room. And as I'm getting to the turn to go into my allergist, I'm like, no, I'm just going to go to the emergency room. Because I'm like, I can see the sign to the emergency room. So, thinking as logically as I could, I thought, if I'm having trouble right now, if I stop and call 911, it's going to take a long time for me to get here. The fastest way for me to get there is just to drive those 2 blocks. Um, which I've been told I should not have done, but in the end, God worked all that out. Um, I called Karen on the phone, and she immediately jumped in the car and started heading with me on the phone the whole time. So I'm pulling in to I made the turn into the emergency room, into the parking lot, and I thought, if there's not a parking spot close, then I'm just gonna park it, just stick it somewhere and let them do a little valet parking for me. But God even had that worked out, because there was a spot that I could just pull right in right at the front. So I get out of the car and I'm starting to, sort of slowly stagger. I feel like one of those astronauts, like, it's like I gotta make it to the door. And once again, providentially, God had a man who was standing there and had just dropped somebody off with a wheelchair into her car, and they were leaving. So he's standing there with a wheelchair. And so I walked up to him. I said, I'm having chest pains. I got to have your wheelchair. He said, well, I haven't sanitized it yet. I'm like, I don't care. So he sat down in there. They rushed me in. They gave me a mask. And the whole time, Karen's on the phone listening to all of this. And so she's still heading to the hospital with Ryan. And by the time they got to the hospital, they had already done an EKG. They saw something, they said, that was concerning, although it wasn't what a normal heart attack looks like. They explained the whole catheterization procedure, and I'm like, Doc, you do whatever you got to do. I gave them just like a blank check. Although I did give them my insurance card too. So, but they told me, they'd have to go in my wrist and go through into my heart. If they could get it in the wrist. If they didn't, they told me the other alternative, and I'm glad they were able to find it in my wrist. Let's just say that. So Karen and Ryan pulled in, and they came into the ER. They prayed for me. And they gave me a nitro tablet, which just really opened everything up, took the pain away temporarily. And then they rushed me up to the room where they were going to do the heart cath. They told me they were going to give me something to just really sedate me. They did, but they must have given me a child's dose or something, because I was totally, awake the whole time. I didn't feel like there was really anything different. So I'm thinking, what do I do? So I start singing, because that's all I know how to do. The song that was stuck in my mind was, there were several songs, but the one that really stuck in my mind was You Are There. It says, if I travel to the end of space and time, you were there, you were there. If I've reached the mountain's peak and there's still more to climb, you were there, you were there. If I find myself like Jonah in the depths of the sea, you were there, you were there. And if like Job I lose all you've given to me, you were there, you were there. And then the chorus says, you are there, you are there. I'm never alone, for you are there. Resting in your arms, safely in your care. I'm never alone, for you are there. And then that last verse just really was fitting. It said, if the darkness closes in, the night will shine like day, for you are there. You are there. And if I go up to the heavens or go down to the grave, you are there. Obviously, the procedure took longer than that one song, so I'm probably sure that I sang some other things. I remember singing Great is Thy Faithfulness, and then I think I ran out of songs, so I just started singing through our new tour. It started with Oh My Soul, Sweet are all your words to me, and then with my last breath, which seems strangely fitting. I do remember one point at the procedure, the doctor saying, "You know, I really love to hear you singing, but we're getting to a point in the procedure where it'd probably be better if you didn't." So I just, was real quiet for a few minutes and just praying. And then when I guess when he got past whatever he was doing, he goes, "Okay, you can sing again." And so I did, and I just just started singing. Um, I'm not sure of all the details. There was a lot of doctorese that they were talking, even though I was wide awake. But I did hear him say the word balloon several times, and stent. They said that, and that is what they did. They found in the main artery. It was not the widowmaker, but it was a little higher on that. But it was almost the widowmaker. It was 100% blocked. All my other arteries, they said, looked pretty good. Uh, for a fat guy who's 53 years old. But but he put a stent in, and I have never felt a chest pain since. So praise the Lord for that. The next day was important. It was an important day to find out how much damage was done to my heart, because that's what happens. When you have a heart attack, it can do damage to the heart. So they did an echocardiogram, and what they told me was that what they like to see is for it to be pumping out like 60% of the blood. But they said it's not uncommon for it to pump out like 40% or something. And then with exercise and over time, it can get back up to 60. Well, praise God, when they tested it, it was pumping at about 60%. They said one side of the heart was pumping a little harder than the other to compensate, but they believe with exercise it should strengthen back up so that it would be as good, if not better than before. So um, while I am still, I guess, pretty young to be having a heart attack, statistically, I have no doubt that this is God telling me that I not only have more to do, but I have a lot more to do, and I need to be healthy to do it. And also to encourage my family to start eating healthier because they're all in ministry, and I know God has a lot for them to do. So as a family, we're going to be on that hard road of starting to eat well. Um, it's kind of hard when you're on the road sometimes and all there is like a late night gas station. But we're going to have to start making some changes, which means I probably will not be able to partake in all of the wonderful fried chicken potluck dinners you all provide before our concerts. But as much as I love and appreciate that, my family and my work for the Lord, of course, are going to have to come first. So other good news, my discharge instructions were to do no more exercise than mall walking for the first week. So that will be till next Wednesday. Don't lift anything more than a gallon of milk because of the hole in my arm where they went in the artery. And I'm on a bunch of good medicines that should keep this from ever happening again. And in God's providence, we did not have a concert this weekend in order to have to cancel. I was supposed to lead worship at our home church, but we have 3 other phenomenal, wonderful worship leaders who all jumped in, and I'm looking forward to hearing that worship on Sunday. In fact, I'm not planning on having to miss any of our concerts, as long as we can have a few strong people to help us carry some sound equipment in for the next, month or few weeks, I guess. And you all have been always really, really good about that. So I plan on getting out onto the streets with Ryan preaching as soon as I have an opportunity to test my endurance. I'm kind of resting for the first few days, not really doing much at all. But I'm hoping within a week, as they said, I should be able to resume normal activity. So I'm just so blessed. I just am. These medical advancements, even things like the COVID vaccine, the medicines they have, the procedures that they can do, I believe that they're just graces of God that help us serve Him better and longer. And that is what I plan to do. So I want to thank you all so much for your prayers. Oh, it's just, Karen was just showing me, I haven't been able to go in and answer every single one, and I don't know that I can. But I am just so thankful for all of your prayers. Some of you I know are going through things worse than me, and you still took time to pray for me, and that means so much. And I love you all. And as our new song says, all praise to Him who sits on the throne, who gives strength to the children so weak. of his mercy and power, justice and grace, may the words of my life always speak. From the summit of mountains to the lowest abyss, in the apex of life or in death, Lord, give me the passion, the courage to speak, to praise you with my last breath. God bless you all and have a wonderful Easter. And I know there's a way to stop this thing, but I'm not sure how. I don't know. Not technically savvy.